Guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about what they were secretly telling us during the halftime show at the Super Bowl 2017. Just like many other Super Bowl halftime shows before it, this was literally an occult ritual played out before our very eyes. I'm going to show you what they were telling us, and then shortly after that I'll show you a few commercials as well, and how these commercials carry the same theme. And before we really get into it, it's really important to understand why they do this kind of stuff, typically during the Super Bowl of all events. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched shows on television. Traditionally, over the last several years, the Super Bowl is watched by well over 100 million people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of eyes on this event. So when I see an event like this that I know is going to have hundreds of millions of eyes all over it, I try to pay special attention to the ads. And I also pay very special attention to the performances. Because if you're familiar with my channel, you know that we've covered this subject for years now. It's always there. And what I'm talking about is this New World Order agenda, hand in hand with the Antichrist agenda. So isn't it interesting that it seems every year over the last several years, it's not just the Super Bowl that's pushing forth this agenda, but it's also all these awards shows we see. And again, I've covered that subject throughout the years as well. When you pay attention and when you watch the performances and the artists, and oftentimes the ads as well, you'll see a continuing theme, pushing forth this agenda of the New World Order, and pushing forth this agenda of the Antichrist beast system. If we just look at how much money that these advertisers put into these short ads on the Super Bowl, that alone tells us that, as far as I'm concerned, that mind control is very real. And most of us already realize this, but this is a prime example, and it's something that millions of people should be able to understand. Because over the last decade alone, the cost for the coveted ad time during the Super Bowl has more than doubled. A 30-second commercial for the first Super Bowl in 1967 only cost $42,000, but the average broke the $1 million barrier in 1995, and it hit a record high of $4.5 million per ad in 2015. In 2016, CBS was charging $5 million per ad, and what's really interesting, when you break that down, numerically it comes out to $166,666 per second. These advertisers will pay these massive amounts of money for these short ads because, again, they know there's so many people watching. So then it's up to us to try to understand what it is that they're telling us. Why would they pay this much money? Right? What is it they're really trying to tell us? If they're simply selling us a product, I can understand that. But once again, far too often, these same themes and messages come up in these ads and these performances. Case in point, Lady Gaga's performance at the 2017 Super Bowl halftime show. So for me, it started from the very beginning. Again, these are subjects I've covered for years. I also talk a lot about the fallen angels. It's my personal belief that we see evidence of these fallen ones with the orbs, the orb-style UFOs. Another subject I've covered for years. So the opening sequence of this Lady Gaga performance is her singing God Bless America, standing up on top of a platform, and she's surrounded by these orbs. Now the orbs in this case were actually drones. There were 300 drones behind her, and they would change shapes and forms and everything else throughout the performance. But before they started doing that, they were simply twinkling in the sky like this. So we had the orbs. We have Lady Gaga up on the platform, just before she fell to the earth. Just as Satan fell to the earth, the star fell from heaven. In keeping with that theme, as I told you, how so many times we continually see the same ideas, the same themes. This right here is from the Super Bowl halftime show 2015 with Katy Perry. So once again, very interesting that her entrance during this performance was on a falling star, surrounded by orbs in the background once again. So we have the devil. So we have the devil symbolically falling from heaven. We have the star falling from heaven, surrounded by the fallen angels, the orbs. And now we have the same theme in 2017, but this time with Lady Gaga, yet another one of these if you will, Illuminati sellouts or a satanic sellout. It's an artist who is constantly putting out these same themes, right? These satanic themes, these, as we say, Illuminati themes. So she was hooked up to a harness. She was standing up on the platform, performed her song, surrounded by the orbs. And then she leaps off of the platform and falls to the earth, once again with the orbs all behind her. Again, keeping with that theme, the falling star, the fallen star, surrounded by the fallen ones. I also don't think that it was just a coincidence that they had her dressed up in kind of a space-age looking outfit. I personally believe this falls into the idea of the Great Delusion, or the false alien invasion, or false alien contact. This world is always telling us that there's other life out there on other planets, and that they're aliens. There's all these different alien species, right? Yet it is my belief, and has been my belief for years, once again this is a deception, that these are going to be fallen angels. Further proof of the satanic symbolism and the satanic themes behind this entire performance came to us in the form of massive pentagrams on the stage. And at one point, Lady Gaga actually sat on top of one and did a little bit of her performance. I'll pull back a little bit here and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's a wider shot of the stage, and you can actually clearly make out one of the pentagrams. They had a few of them buried like this, right, around the stage. But if you look over there to the right side, that is a star, as you can see, and it's been turned upside down. It's not fully revealed because, again, this is how they put this stuff right in front of the face of over 100 million people without people fully understanding what it is. But we can put these connections together, right? And we can understand that there's a theme being played out here. This is a public ritual promoting Satanism, or some may say Illuminati. Beast system ideals, New World Order agenda. So that star that's buried halfway into the ground, the upside down star you're looking at there, is this. That is exactly what the upside down star is in this case, once again on stage, all around the stage, the Super Bowl halftime in front of over 100 million people. And in continuing with pushing forth all of these ideals and these occult ideas, at one point during her performance, Lady Gaga grabbed a scepter. So she held this star scepter in her hand. And that scepter we've seen throughout history. Once again, this is a representation of Mother Goddess worship, Ishtar, Isis, and the list goes on. And as always, we need our confirmations, right? I mean, you can see maybe just a pyramid with an eye on something, and you can't automatically say they're pushing forth an agenda. A lot of these symbols have been with us for a very long time, so sometimes it's just a part of the collective consciousness of everybody. But I think so far we've proven with this performance, there's plenty of confirmations. Even at one point she put on this jacket, which once again was pushing forth sun symbolism. This is another thing we see a lot as far as what we call Illuminati symbols, or on a very base level, occult symbolism, satanic symbolism for this beast system. Because these people are sun, S-U-N, sun worshippers. And that is linked to the worship of Lucifer, the false light. So here she has this jacket, and on both of her shoulders she has massive sun symbols with the rays shooting out. And we saw this sun symbolism once again. We had a confirmation at the end of her performance. And now right here, they had this overhead shot at the very end of the performance, and you can see the massive sun symbolism. There's the sun there, and they had all the rays kind of flickering in and out and rotating all around there. So again, we have this occult ritual in front of the public eyes, and the worship of the sun, S-U-N, by extension of that, the worship of Lucifer. So now that we've covered the ritual performance that took place at the halftime show, I just want to show you how some of the ads that played throughout the whole Super Bowl also were pushing forth this same agenda and these same ideas. So first and foremost, they ran an ad for the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie called Dead Men Tell No Tales. And in watching this entire ad, the whole idea really is about the beast rising from the sea, evil coming from the sea. Even the movie poster has Johnny Depp there front and center with the all-seeing eye or one-eye symbolism, and all around him you see images of death rising from the sea. And here's just another one of the images from the movie, and as you can see, the beast, those are teeth, you see, teeth coming from the sea, the beast coming from the sea. And continuing with that theme, there was an ad for the new Transformers movie, which is called The Last Knight, Knight. You can see this character right here coming up behind all of this destruction. And they get really specific at one point in the commercial. It opens up with somebody narrating, and they say, "Your world is dying." And then it shows these two Transformers fighting on a massive, what appears to be spaceship that's coming up out of the ocean. So once again, the same themes. One more thing I'll add in there about the commercials is that apparently Alfa Romeo was a huge sponsor this year of the Super Bowl because they had several ads throughout the entire game. What's most interesting is their tagline. Their tagline was "Riding on the Backs of Dragons," because of course we have the serpent there as one of the emblems for Alfa Romeo. And upon closer inspection of the Alfa Romeo emblem, we see what? We see the serpent actually eating a man, or eating a human. Riding on the backs of dragons indeed. And this is one of the bigger sponsors for the Super Bowl this year with multiple commercials. So are they really just selling us cars, or are they also selling us ideas? And something else for your consideration as far as Lady Gaga goes, and again, the position she was given, the job she was given to have this massive performance in front of the eyes of the world, really. Again, Super Bowl being one of the most watched shows all around. Well, she's very good friends with Marina Abramovic, and a lot of people first learned about Abramovic through the Podesta emails and spirit cooking and all this weird, she calls it performance art she does. Now, I've covered her in a few videos myself, many other people have as well. I personally believe she's a very high-level witch, and she's connected to politicians, also connected to the Hollywood elite. I believe this is a very sick person, and there's no doubt once you investigate her that what she's involved in, on a very base level at least, is purely satanic. Very dark stuff. And here's Lady Gaga with her right here at one of her events. And Lady Gaga, in my opinion, is one of the most satanic performers out there. Yet here she is on stage during, what many people think is one of the most American things out there, football, right? The Super Bowl of all things. She's the performer. One of the most satanic, popular performers, as far as I'm concerned, out there. Yet this is the person that gets to perform during the Super Bowl, a very American event most people believe and see it as. She gets to perform for multiple and multiple millions and millions of people. This is bringing Satanism to the mainstream. It's subtle for the most part, unless you have the eyes to see this stuff. But that's exactly what this is. So I'll close up there, folks. That's what I wanted to show you and share with you. So thank you for checking out the video. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you'll take care of yourselves out there, alright? And I'll talk to you real soon.